Hello everyone, this is Azuruka Yamamoto, and today I would like to take a look at high caliber long range guns and how to use them in battle. Now, these guns are actually mounted on quite a variety of aircraft. And one example is the aircraft type that I have here now, being the Yak multirolls. It starts at the Yak 7 and then goes all the way up to the I-215. But we can also find them, for instance, on the B110C6, and we can find them on the IL-20, for instance. I think we can find them on the German TAs. Yeah. So basically these are guns with a low rate of fire, a very long shooting range, and a high caliber. You can see here that in this case it's a center mounted gun. It's I always forget the terms, but it's called hub mounted. And the propellers basically spin around it, and this aircraft also has some other guns, and that's quite typical for these aircraft. That this is not the only armament. They also have some machine guns. This one has synchronized machine guns. And this is multiroll, has some rockets. It's quite a maneuverable aircraft. So basically, I'm going into battle now, and what I'd like to discuss is how do you use such a gun most effective. So these high caliber guns, this one has a range rated of, let's see, 900 meters. Now, I always say that you can go 20% above that before your shell really disappears, so that would be 1080 meters, and that's a horribly long distance. And what you want to do is that you want to make sure that you are only aiming that shell. So yeah. Now I have my weapons set up in such a way that I can also fire only my main shell and the machine gun separately, or both at the same time. And I do that using my mouse. I play with a mouse. So. And when I'm shooting at long distance, I will be using the button that only shoots the long range shell. So I have no basically the screen stays clear. And the lead, of course, is really big for such ranges. But if you do hit, then you do amazing damage. And those were 2 hits. You could just see the HP crashing away. This was another hit. And here we go, finish him off with the machine guns. So yeah, you can also use these kind of guns against ground targets. Now this thing also has some rockets, so let's use those as well. But since you have this range, engaging your enemies at a large distance is really nice, because no one really expects you to start shooting at them from over a kilometer range. And if you can land these big hits that I just did, especially on human players, that's really funny. And of course you have to plan that a bit, and it varies per aircraft type how easy it is. With the IL-20, for instance, those guns are just meant for anti-ground target, whereas in the BF-110C6 in this aircraft, it's quite easy to use it against enemy aircraft. But you have to teach yourself how to do that a bit, and you really have to focus on hitting those those main shells and not your machine guns. The machine guns on this one have abominable range anyway, so aiming for those doesn't really work. Because if you are aiming for the main shells, then you will automatically hit your machine gun shells as well. And the other way around it certainly doesn't hold. Now, I did hit him once, but that's not quite enough. Beautiful hit there, straight through his back. And of course that's what I want to show, but if it doesn't work out that way, then well, so be it. One of the things is that with these large caliber guns you generally have to give way more lead than with a lower caliber gun. Come on. And I got him. And it's not so bad in general if you miss a couple of shots, as long as you just make sure to get your aim back at some point. Aiming these things is not simple, and in general, if I start a battle in these things, the first 3 shots will always miss. Right now I'm sitting comfortably at the top of the team. To be honest, in this stage, we have an AFK bow fighter, so he's no competition. And the other, I'm not quite surprised by this actually. Now I'm no longer in the top, so. Now this aircraft is reasonably maneuverable. I haven't quite, I mean I have it specialist, but it doesn't have the best equipment or whatever. I try to make it a bit more maneuverable still, because the more maneuverable it gets, the easier it is to align your aircraft such that you can take a proper shot at your enemy. While with many other aircraft, it's this is really not turn and burn. It's really not boom and zoom either. I don't know exactly what kind of style I'd have to call this. Perhaps we'll just call this the Yak 7 style, or the Yak multi-role style, or the heavy caliber style, or whatever. Basically, I need one of those main gun shells to hit this.
Air supremacy achieved.
And if you can stay properly on target, that of course really helps in.
Will be unable to reach you. Do you read me? Over. Enemy bombers inbound. Don't let them reach their target.
In hitting your shots. Right now I seem to be missing a bit. Oh no, there we go. I don't think he quite liked that. And a hit.
Way to go! Victory is close.
You have to get a bit of a feeling for when to use only your main guns or only the machine guns, because the main gun really overheats quickly.
You're on your own.
And you can also say, okay, I don't want to focus on that and I'm just going to use all at a time. But I really click independently for each shot that I'm taking with these guns, because if you just keep pressing it, then you don't quite know when the next shell is coming. So In the case of the BF-110C6, which shoots once every 3/4 of a second, it's a bit less important. This one shoots once every 2 seconds, and then really timing each individual shot is quite worth it. So now let's see if I lived up to expectations in terms of damage. Of course, it wasn't the most exciting battle ever, but let's have a look. If the damage is okay. So that's a nice 1600 damage, 8 kills, and often you'll do something in this range with an aircraft like this. At least that's my own experience. So nice battle there. I didn't even die, so that's even nicer. Couple of critical hits, which is of course quite easy with such a high caliber. Yeah. This style is something that you really have to get used to it. But the advice is basically aim each shot individually, take each shot individually, and give massive lead. And then, yeah, the alpha on these hits is really big, so you saw that also in battle, I think. And then aircraft like these can be very enjoyable to play, but they can also be very frustrating to encounter. And if you see aircraft like these, make sure to fly unpredictably, and yeah, getting close, that's a good way to counter them. So yeah, that's basically it on the high caliber long range guns. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.